After the computer boots up, the desktop is displayed. This is a GUI, G-U-I, or Graphical User Interface, and it provides us a nice, easily understandable way to see what the operating system and hardware can provide, as well as letting us interact with it. Now, if you believe in science fiction movies, it's kind of like when they say aliens take on a human-like life form and speak a language that we can understand in order for us to relate to them. Well, this is the same kind of thing. Trust me, we don't want to see a bunch of computer language scrolling in text across our screen, nor do we want to have to type in all of those commands that the computer would normally understand. So the GUI instead shows it to us in a nice desktop configuration, with little pictures or icons that we can click on and things that we can work with a lot easier than the actual computer operating system and language itself. In Windows, what we get to see is called the desktop, and the desktop is just like the desktop you have at a regular desk. It holds important papers and files, it can have helpful tools like maybe a calculator, and it probably has a few personal items on it, maybe a family picture or maybe a clock. The same is true for the computer desktop as well. So now what we'll do is take a quick tour of the desktop and show you what all of these parts are. Now when you look at the screen, you're actually seeing the main part of the desktop. And the main part of the desktop can contain several things. It can contain resources, like shortcuts to your printers and your modems. As we've seen, our desktop actually holds one of our resources, which is this folder for our project files. That folder also includes individual files, which we've already used. The desktop can also have shortcuts to launching applications. Those are the computer programs that are going to do specific things. For example, our email. And later versions of Windows, like Windows Vista and Windows 7, also can have something called gadgets. And we'll play a little bit later with gadgets to show you how you can enable those. What I'd like to do though now, instead of focusing on the main part of the desktop, is to actually come down to the bottom of the screen and focus on this thing at the very bottom. The whole thing is actually called the taskbar. And the taskbar has a couple of different regions. In Windows XP, and even in Windows Vista, on the far right side, you're going to see something that is referred to as the system tray. This is going to have any variety of icons in it. Now, I do want to remind you very quickly that what you're currently looking at is my particular computer system, and my system is going to be different than yours. Even if you're running Windows 7 Ultimate like I am, yours is still going to be different because you have different types of hardware, different types of software, and those things. So remember that in this course, we're talking about the generalities, and everybody's going to have a system tray on the right side of their taskbar. Until you actually launch some programs, most of the middle part of the taskbar will be empty. In Windows 7 only, you may see some icons on the left-hand side. If I pause over these, mine tell me I have a Windows Media Player, I have Windows Explorer, and I also have Internet Explorer. We're going to come back and talk about these parts of the taskbar in just a moment. But we're actually going to start with the first thing on the left, which is the Start button. In Windows XP, it will actually say Start. In Windows Vista and Windows 7, it's just going to have the Windows logo. By giving it a single left click, we get to open up the Start menu. Again, what you see on the left-hand side of the Start menu is going to be very unique to your computer. But what you see on the right-hand side should be more consistent with what I'm seeing. And I'm going to start at the very top. At the top, we see a picture, and we'll talk more about how you can customize this picture for your particular account when we talk about user accounts. The first option lets me know that I am currently logged on as the administrator. And if I clicked on this option, it would open my personal folders. I then have Documents, Pictures, Music, Games, an overview of the computer and all of its drives, as well as the control panel, which is where we get to the settings for the computer, access to my devices and printers, access to what we call default programs, and even help and support. If we move back up to the top of this particular menu, Documents, Pictures, Music, and Games are folders that are all included really in every version of Windows that's recent. Yours may be called something different. For example, yours may say My Documents, My Pictures, My Music, but again, the concept is the same. What I want to start with is this button for Computer. When you roll your mouse over it, it says it allows you to see the disk drives and other hardware that are part of this computer. I might not like having to click on the Start button though and come over here and actually do a couple of clicks to get to this. So I'm going to show you a shortcut. The computer is something that we can actually put as an icon on the desktop. If I right-click, I get to see a context-sensitive menu for the computer option. There are several different activities that I can do with it, but there's one option in particular that I'm interested in right now. It says Show on Desktop. I'm going to do a single left click on that option, and then I'm going to press the Escape key on my keyboard to get out of the Start menu. And I want you to notice that I now have an icon or a picture for the computer on my desktop. If I double click on this, it would be exactly the same as going to the Start button and clicking on Computer. But as you can see, this is more easily accessible. Think of it in many ways as being able to keep something right on your desk instead of having to go over maybe to a file room to get to it. It's much faster and easier to access on your desktop than it is in a drawer in a different room. So it's very easy to add system icons like Computer, the Recycle Bin, even those Pictures and Documents folders by right-clicking and simply saying Place